to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
All right, everyone, this is Memphis Mark coming to you from Mullet Manor, and we're going to do the review for 7-6 for NXT, and it's our second installment for the Great American Bash, and I believe our next big PPL will be No Mercy in Denver, Colorado. But this one, they start off with the Great American Bash. They start off with a recap. They got old Hank and Tank doing their little funny, comical deeds. They do the recap, and then they go straight into a Pete Dunne versus Whoop That Trick. We got Trick Williams in there. And like Pete Dunne said, Trick, you gotta figure it out, and Trick kind of figured it out in this match a little bit. Pete, of course, is always going to give you a good match, and Trick, man, looked really good, had better chops. So, he always seems to be improving. I gotta give the man that for sure. But in this particular match, they give us a little twist, a little plot turn, because you got Big Pete Dunne pulling this match off over Whoop That Trick. And it's going to cause a little setup for a little something a little on down the road, but I like the fact, since they've taken the belt, they've taken the strap off of Trick, he's, they're not making him invincible. They're making him, they're building a good superstar, in my opinion. So we will see, of course, how that goes on down the road. Then they got some more of old Hank and Tank of this particular version, because they wanted DJ Eddie Thorpe in there, but apparently Lexus King has sidelined the big Indian, and so Lexus is going to sit in and do a little spinning of the records there, and apparently a lot of people don't like it. And I'm a fan of rock music, and I don't like the way Lexus is taking this, but it is what it is. And they're going into their promotion for Tulsa this coming week for SmackDown, because they are going to have Roman Reigns coming back in there, so that should be interesting. And then we got a little promo with Ethan Page and Nathan Frazier, the champs in there, and they're kind of going back and forth, but they're wondering where's Axiom. So they're creating the rift in the champs. Slowly, they are putting the cracks that will eventually let the water through, and the dam will break. But that's the way that one's heading on down the road. But you're going to have Tatum Paxley and Lana Jordan, the North American champ, putting her title up. And, I got to say, every time I see Tatum Paxley, she surprises me. I guess she has made herself not look as athletic as she is, to later on awe us when she does perform these moves, or the way she does certain things, the mannerism and how she does them. Kind of spooky, kind of freaky, that's what they want out of her, and she is pulling it out left and right. I mean, there was an NXT add-on to the Fiend's family, or I don't know what they're calling themselves, the Bray Wyatt's bunch over there on another show. So we'll see where Tatum ends up. But in this particular match, Miss Jordan always does a good flip and a good flop. You know, she combines her gymnastics and stuff with her wrestling, and she does better than, than some. In this one, it's kind of, it is what it is. Yeah, she's going to end up winning this match. They're not giving Tatum that kind of a push yet. She's getting plenty of storyline time. Just not the way, some people traditionally go through it. Atlanta pulls off this match. Of course, you're going to have, what did I write in here? What is this? I can't even read my own notes. This is bad. Pretty much. Really good match. Wendy Chu, though, is always seeming to be around all of these matches. Wendy Chu is popping up in the back of promos. Wendy Chu is everywhere, and that's who she attacks Tatum after the match. So Wendy Chu is she's on her way. They're getting ready to bring her back into the ring in a big way. That's for sure. But after that, you've got Ora Mensa of Metaphor. And let me say before that, they do, in the Hank and Tank deal, they did add Stevie Ray and Mr. Stone. And what they attempted to pull off, and of course, Ava, the all-wise and all-knowing, makes a quick appearance, but the worst attempt of trying to act like you're having a rib eating or a wing eating or whatever they were, the worst contest thing they could have ever done. But anyway, we'll go back to Metaphor and Ora Mensa going against Ethan Page, and that's all ego Ethan Page for the title. I've got to say in this now, you expect Ora. He's around the ring. He's on the top ropes. That is his niche, or that's what he does. But Ethan Page is just a basic, non-frills, does everything with the right timing at the right time. Just a veteran in the ring. And Ora, though, Ora is freaking great, man. If there were still promotions around the country, he would be someone's champ in a smaller division. Not on the big wigs, but he would be that guy that they bring in because he's that freaking good. But in this match, All Ego is just wise and simpler, and he does sell great, to pretty much, Ethan Page would be good in any era that you wanted to drop him in. I think he could pull it off. With Mensa, he's a high flyer, and that came in a little later on, but he is really good. But here's what we get into. This is just more and more of how Hunter and the powers that be in the big towers have robbed and pillaged TNA to a point. Who is left, and what a great option to be able to get some new stars into your program to mix with your training stars that you don't have to pay as much. Man, they have gotten some talent out of TNA. And the list is going to go on and on as we talk about this show, but man, in this one, Ethan Page, they get it to the outside because, of course, the challenger can't win on the outside. And they're trying to put EP is going to put Ora through a picnic table, and that messes up once, and of course they pull it off again, and they put him through the table. But in this match, you think, all right, EP is going to pull this off here. No, they pull it off. They give you a little more of a tease, and they bring you back. And then the match ends with, I think, one of the better slips. I think I think you can maybe go to do a move and sometime actually do the move, if that makes any sense. Like he may have wanted to slip and actually slipped too. So it made the actual slip seem so much more realistic for the cameras because it looked good. He slips, Ethan Page pounces and pulls off the win. And it's just a good match. Can't say anything but a good match. But I will have to say, I didn't say something last week, but I just wanted to mention this real quick. It was in my notes. Mike Rome, the announcer. What's up with that hair, man? That's all I had on that. But then they go into an MSK. That's right, a Rascals promo, where Mr. Wesley pulls off the tear-jerker of the year. Well, maybe not of the year, but he pulls off one of a tear-jerker the only way Wesley can. After that, they got some more Hank and Tank in there, and they got the ladies in the locker room, and they let some guys come in there and make a butt of themselves, and the ladies end up putting them through a table because Hank and Tank said no fighting. So the ladies just put them through a table. But here we are back. We're back at TNA version 2.0 on NXT. Sounds like a program for a spyware. But anyway, you've got Joe Coffey of the Gallus guys, the Gallus brothers, the Gallus crew, going against, we all believe, in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry comes out in his typical manner and takes the crowd over. He has got to be a director's dream, because you know that you can fill up a segment of your show just on the crowd, doing the waving of the hands there. But the match is actually good. Joe Hendry comes out and jumps on Gallus from the start. Well, he actually jumps over the top rope and takes out Wolfgang and Mark, and then Joe Hendry. The match is good, going along great, timing good. Both of these guys are just good professionals. I'm learning more about Joe Hendry. Coffey, I know and have been seeing for a while, a great worker. Put him in any situation, can sell, can make anybody look good. But when Joe Hendry goes into the archives, goes back into history, and he pulls off the Eddie Guerrero. That's right, folks. He pulled off the Eddie Guerrero. He fakes a chair shot, lands on the desk, and the referee sees Wolfgang and Mark with that chair and kicks them out. Puts them back to the locker room, and which Joe Hendry, because everyone is believing, takes advantage and ends up pulling off the match. And then he gets some stick time. They got a reporter in the ring. And Joe Hendry, the way the reporter says, about his time in NXT, Joe Hendry replies that he ain't done. He kind of likes it, and he ain't going nowhere. And so he says he'll be here every Tuesday night. So, hey, he's, like I said, he's a great time filler. He will appear. Just believe in him, and he will appear. They go from there to a Chase U promo, and they've got a new classroom, and it's all due to Ridge Holland. And of course, Ridge comes in and takes his props, and then announces that he has procured, or he has arranged for a tag title match for Chase U. And of course, Duke and Riley, they're all happy, but then Ridge drops the bomb and says, no, not so fast, because it's going to be Ridge and Andre Chase going for the belts. So there again, we had a little wedge with the champs earlier, and now we got a little wedge with inside of Andre Chase University. So we'll see where that goes, on down the road. But from there, they go into some interviews. Well, not really interviews, because they're doing the Hank and Tank Great American Bash party. And they cut into, to Brooks and Sean Spears. And apparently Brooks is feeling a little pressure from Sean, so Hank and Tank come over and settle things out. But then, then you're going to have the ladies getting into it, and so that's going to arrange for a match, because Mr. Stone has figured out that since Roxanne has beat everybody, why not have a battle royal of sense of everybody that Roxanne hasn't beaten yet. Boy, they're really putting a push on her. But then we have to have a little fun, because it's Hank and Tank. So the OC show up, the Good Brothers. They show up, and they don't like the hot dogs, and they don't like the lemonade. So that offends old Hank and Tank. And so the shenanigans begin. And they are off to fighting. And then we go back into the Ren St. Clair match, going against Kendall Gray. And she's got a protege on the outside, but Ren St. Clair is trying to get in to the No Quarter Catch crew. And they're playing it off kind of good, this is kind of comical, and it's, and then this match would be a good opening match somewhere. But it is what it is. These ladies did put on a pretty good match. Good finishing move by Ren St. Clair after a little a distraction. Not interference, but a distraction. And Ren St. Clair is now, I believe, in the No Quarter Catch crew. And that's with Miles. Not being afraid of Kendall anymore, he says. So we'll see where that goes. But then they've got a young profile. Well, they got a profile of young OG. And I guess it's something they've been doing a little bit, where they're just putting the spotlight on some of their young superstars. And, young OG comes in and admits, hey, college wasn't for him. He wanted to be a wrestler. And they bring in his coach, which used to wrestle down here. His name in Memphis escapes me, but he went up to WWE or F then, and with all the tattoos, and he was really big in, Tunzu or whatever is what they called him in the WWE, but here they had another name. Anyway, he's a coach now, and they bring a little spotlight onto him. Young OG does, and hey, pretty good little promo. Nothing bad. And then you got Oba doing a promo, which he kind of walked through somebody's promo earlier in the night. And so Oba comes out of his meeting with the all-knowing and all-wise Ava, and says that he's got a match next week. And just about the time as they're going to announce it, Tony D and the family come through the door, and they're like, hey, you want to talk to a real star? And he takes over the interview. So there, again, is another twist that we will see on down the road. Oba Femi, not amused by being, looked over. But then we come to our main event. Now, we had the tearjerker earlier from Mr. Wesley, which only Wesley can do. And so MSK with Trey. It's Trey and Wes in there going against the champs, Nathan, Frazier, and Axiom, formerly known as something that I won't say on air, but there was a sign at the end of the match that someone held up that said Axiom's other name. But hey, in this match, you're going to have a good match with these, light heavyweights. They flying around the ring, of course. And Nathan and Axiom, there's a reason they're the champs, because they can put on a heck of a show and they can make it look good against opponents twice their size. That's not an easy thing to do, and they pull it off pretty frequently and pretty well. But in this particular match, they pull it off great, but there's a little mess up. A little crack in or a little chink in the armor, a little crack in the wall or in the foundation, because there's a missed kick by Axiom. And Nathan almost loses the titles there, but he pulls it out, kicks out, and there's several more pins attempts. It goes back and forth and a good match. But then, in the end, they're going to pin, and the champs are going to retain their belts. And with kind of a surprise, the way this was going, I would have said this is the time that they're going to break the champs up and they're going to give the belts to the Rascals or MSK or NTY or whatever the heck you want to call them, man. I just saw it. But that's the reason they get paid the big bucks. Because, the champs get out of the ring. The Rascals are sitting there wallowing in pity and sorrow and tears and anguish, and it's a terrible sight. And they get Wes Lee up, and, well, I didn't see it coming. But they pulled the one over on old Memphis Mark, because I can tell you, Wes Lee does the turn. That's right. Wes Lee is now bad guy, coming out of the other locker room, going to the other pay window. He is now the villain, the heel, the most hated, because he does the turn. He turns on NSK and he whoops him, and he whoops him, and then he whoops him some more, and then he takes him to the outside, and he continues to put the other gentleman through the wall, and then his brother Trey positions himself against the stairs. And Wes Lee does a satanic kind of turn and look, and then does a double knee to the head, to the steps. And, he pulled it off pretty good, because you've got to put your legs exactly on ears. And his head's going to go back with your outfit, but he's going to bang it too. So you got the thud, you've got the look, and if the camera angle wasn't so perfect, it would have been a perfect move. But because of modern technology, it shows that he pulled it off perfectly. And so Trey is left in a puddle of his own anguish or whatever, and Wes Lee is now the new poster child for climbing the ladder, because he's going to come back out next week with a great dialogue. His promo should be good of how everybody's held him down and how he got these guys back. So there, henceforth, he is going to build MSK into something. They're getting ready to get the push. You got to get pushed out of the boat before you can have the whole journey of you getting back on the boat to justify everything. So, a pretty good show. It went a little long, and now I know why, because they gave the turn to Wes Lee. and he ran with it, folks. That's pretty much the show this week. You know, they are getting ready for the next one, like I said, with No Mercy in Denver, Colorado. So they'll be building on that. So we'll see. Will Trick Dunn get his revenge on... will Trick get his revenge on Pete Dunne? Will Hank and Tank and OC continue their fight? Will Tatum Paxley and Wendy Choo have their big match? I mean, what is going on? Ethan Page and Ora Mensah, is that over? All of these things, they left us with a good spot. Andre Chase and Chase U, is that crack going to let the water through? Is there going to be division? So many angles. Oba and now Tony in the family. Tony. So, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? We'll have to tune in next week, folks, to find out. So that is going to do it for me this week. And I very much appreciate the emails that I've gotten and the messages. I appreciate them, and I do go through them, and thank you. And I appreciate everyone taking a few minutes out of their day to listen. We've got some great shows on the network here, the WWE podcast, so give us a listen, and thank you to all. So I will end it now with the way I do it every week. If you can, get out. Volunteer. Do whatever you can in a shelter. It's hot. Get out there and help wherever you can. And as always, spay and neuter. And guys, well, this is Memphis Mark. And you know what? I'm out.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.